I'm Assemblywoman Kimberly Jean-Pierre, and I represent the Great District, the 11th Assembly District in the state of New York. I'm so honored and proud to partner with Community Watch with our great host, Bishop Andy Luter, who would bring you various elected officials to discuss their platform, who they are, so you could be able to know who are the great people that represent you in the different levels of government. It's an honor for me to partner with Community Watch to help you understand what's happening right here on Long Island, right here where you live in your community.
Thank you, Assemblywoman Kimberly Jean-Pierre. Listen, friends, I am Andy C. Luter, and each and every week I have an opportunity to come before you in this program called the Community Watch. Again, I want to thank Assemblywoman Kimberly Jean-Pierre for making this platform available to us so that we might bring to you voices and personalities here in our community who are making a major difference in our lives. Toward that end, I want to introduce and share with you Al Garvin. He is a local videographer here in our community. I'm anxious to talk to him about where video has come from and where he sees it going in the not too distant future. Again, Al Garvin, thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me, Bishop. It's a pleasure being here with you.
Al, let's kind of go back, and for those persons who may not be familiar with your work, but I would prefer to refer to it as ministry of sorts, because you work a great deal with the faith community, and Community Watch, you are one of the community assets that we have here on Long Island, and we are very, very fortunate to have a person of your caliber and talent and giftings working in this particular area. Tell us a little bit about yourself in terms of where you grew up, family. Every parent likes to talk about children.
Well, I grew up, born in Brooklyn, New York, 1972. I don't mind saying it, how old I am. Grew up in Queens, Hollis, Queens, and then got married and moved out here in Long Island in 1996 towards 97. Been out here since then. Will not leave Long Island. Never. I will never go back to the city. But my roots is from the South Carolina. My parents are both from South Carolina. Just came back from there, actually visited there, and enjoyed. I enjoy being a part of the South.
Okay.
Carolinians.
And I know that you are a family man, so tell us a bit about your family.
Well, I've been married 29 years as of February 16. It was me and my wife, my beautiful wife, Jada. Met her in high school sweethearts. Got married real early, 19.
Okay.
So, but we have 6 kids. Some of them, actually all of them, you know.
Yes.
You know, growing up here in Long Island, I love them, and have 2 grandkids. My son has two daughters. Mary, they have 2 daughters. Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about video, because video has come a long way.
Yes.
You and I, we've had these conversations about videography and the technology of video, and it has changed. It has gone from what we recall to be an analog system to now a digital system. Right. How far back do you go, Al? What do you remember your first camera being, your first system being, your first recording format being?
Well, I used to have this camera called an Ikigami camera.
Ooh,
it had the
impressive camera.
3-tube type of camera. It was more of a warm type look. It was a huge camera, beige. It was beige. I got it used from, I forget where I got it from. Then I used to record into something called 3/4 tape.
Yes, I remember.
I remember the 3/4, the big giant tape.
Cassette, yeah.
Yeah, and that's how I got started.
Yeah.
My first digital camera was, I think, in 98 or 99, the XL1, the Canon XL1. I paid $3,200 for it. And I was one of the first local people to have something in that caliber. And that's when I noticed there was going to be a change. Even though I didn't agree to the change, I didn't like the way it looked. But
the digital look, that early digital look, very kind of flat, kind of bluish.
Yes,
yeah.
But it moved to that. Also in audio, you know, I'm also an audio guy, and recording as well. I used to have a 2-inch reel when they used to record in the 24-track reel, the big giant round tape. Now they went to computers. It was another hard for me to deal with, going from analog to digital with the audio world. That was a big jump for me, but I guess that's the way it has gone, and it's okay.
Okay,
It has its
okay.
advantage.
Listen, let's talk a bit about those institutions and congregations and organizations that you've had an opportunity to work with here of late. This is Community Watch, and so we talk to individuals who are impacting the community, and you have done that primarily in the faith community. Can you talk about some of the churches and some of the organizations that you've worked with in this area of videography?
Hollywood, of
Sure.
course.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow. Wow, there's so many. I mean, even dealing with the national people, national churches. I dealt with mostly every single church here in Long Island knows about me, or I dealt with it either through video or through sound or audio. Prayer Tabernacle, Galilee. We just did installation for them, and with their screens with Pastor Patina Pennon. Also, who else? I'm sorry, so many other pastors.
Well, Bishop Stephanie Riddle Green. I know that.
That's how we met.
Yeah, right. We met
Bishop Green. That's right. Out in Greenlawn. That's right. That's how she got us together. What year was that, Bishop?
It was upon my arrival, so it was about 19 years ago. 2001, 2002.
Oh my
early,
God!
2002.
I know you that long.
Yeah. Yes.
Wow!
Yeah.
It seemed like yesterday.
So in talking about working with organizations, what is it that organizations need to be aware of as they move into this area? Because it is a bit technical, and it can be a deep learning curve.
Yes.
So if you were talking to an organization, a 501c3, a nonprofit, a church, a faith community, what would you advise them to be aware of as they move into this area?
Well, technology is changing rapidly. Broadcasting has changed. Now we're using more of the internet service for broadcasting. I always said that. Me and you used to sit down in my living room and talk about it. About 8-9 years ago, I said everything is going to go through the internet. Even regular broadcasters using internet today.
Sure.
And churches need to be more, not just churches, any organization need to be more involved with what's happening. It's constantly changing. It keeps me on my P's and Q's. I'm constantly learning. I think everything, always something new or something that's always changing every 6 months to a year. So you got to constantly know what's going on. Internet is very, very important.
Yeah. And Al, as we talk about internet, let's back up just a little bit and talk about video production, because one of the things that I recall, having been in this space for quite some time, is that when I started with the old reel-to-reel black and white videotape system, that red and gray box that Sony put out. And now I'm going all the way back to 1976, 1977. That was 40 years ago. But since then, video production has made this major leap in the last 12 to 15 years.
Yes.
I remember being so enthusiastic and excited because I was able to acquire a Panasonic WJ4660. And there was a WJ5200, and that was a video switcher. You actually brought your cameras in there, and you actually did switching between cameras, and then you had to have a recording device that you sent that signal out to. All of that now is being done in the computer.
That's right.
Nobody's using that switching equipment. We went from like the WJ4600 to a new tech system that was the first generation of computer-driven video switching. And now it's not even a box, it is software.
Yes.
Talk a bit about that landscape and where that has gone over so many years.
I think that was called linear editing system.
Linear, yeah.
And then now the computer was non-linear editing. I learned this dealing with Adobe Premiere back in 96 or 97. And that, once again, that was something I had to learn. And it's changed so much. Nobody, like you said, nobody uses that old system anymore. I mean, everything is software, so you got to know, you got to be a little bit savvy about the computers and understand how it works. But there's a lot of things you can do with software now where you couldn't do with the old system.
That's true.
You know, you can see the actual video, the actual audio waveform. You can see how to edit more and more precise. So the advantage of the new system is far greater than the old system.
So listen, in the perhaps 15 minutes that we have left, and I want to pause real quick because we pulled up a promotional video that you did, and all of this was done in the computer. So we're really kind of showing this to demonstrate exactly what can be done in a computer environment.
Yes.
And so I'm going to ask our technician to bring that up,
okay,
so that the audience has an opportunity to see exactly what a computer is capable of doing these days.
Do you need a professional sound or video or even a live recording? Well, Al Garvin Productions can provide this for you. No matter how large or small it is, Al Garvin Productions will give you professional quality. Al Garvin provides great professional quality video for weddings, church services, and television. Call today and speak with Al Garvin at 631-805-6951. Call at 631-805-6951, or you can visit the website algarvin.com. ALGARVIN.com.
Now, Al, just before we went to that video, we talked about how everything is now streaming.
Yes.
And organizations need to seriously take into consideration the usage of streaming and the internet. Video has kind of catapulted itself into an arena that it has not been before. Let's talk about how organizations, community organizations, faith communities can use the internet to better promote what they're doing.
Oh, of course, especially for people who are homebound.
Okay.
Streaming is so important for that. People who are going out of town, they want to be in the service, but cannot be there.
Mm-hmm.
Also, when they're doing concerts,
Okay.
Everybody can't be there, and it's a great way to promote not just churches, any organization. I mean, this is the future. This is it. Internet, television is it.
Okay. And one of the things that I'm really excited about and very proud of is that you have helped to lead us into a whole new arena. Because, and let's talk a bit, before I talk about that, let's talk about the history of public access.
Okay.
One of the things that we connected on was that in 1984, there was a Federal Communication, FCC ruling that insisted that local cable companies that were coming into local municipalities had to make access to the cable signal available to the public. And so they developed three types of channels. They were called PEG channels: public access, educational access, and then government access. And talk to us about those days when we had to stand in the cold on long lines outside of a Cablevision in Woodbury. And of course, those 3/4-inch tapes that you talked about, they had to be hand delivered to the cable company so that individuals and organizations such as ourselves could take advantage of this public access opportunity. Now, you have really aggressively taken advantage of public access, not only here locally on Long Island, but literally around the country.
Yes,
so talk to us about the landscape of public access as you have come to know it.
Well, public access was a great opportunity for me to learn my skill and sharpen it more, and learn from others. And like I was telling you a few times, that we were on that line usually a day before, camp out to get a good spot, because it's a first come, first served basis.
Sure.
But the advantage was, like, once again, I learned a lot of things from other producers, and learned and met new people, in this field. So it was great. Well, public access itself is a great tool. But once again, it's changed. It has changed. My advantage, I deal with a lot of other public access all over the country.
Yeah, talk about that.
I have a spot in Atlanta, Georgia. I have a spot in Los Angeles, Seattle. Trying to get something done in Texas soon, in Houston. Also in Manhattan. It's called Manhattan Neighborhood Network. What else is this? It's another one. Oh no, I didn't get that yet, but I'm just waiting. I don't want to talk about it until I get it. But it's a lot of public access across the country. You just got to know how to go about doing it,
Okay.
and how to go. Some require a little fee.
Okay.
Some require someone to live there.
Mhm.
It all depends on what their requirements are.
Now, in the early days of public access, you had to actually physically deliver a
yes,
tape
right.
to the facility.
Right, not anymore.
Now
Yeah.
you can kind of upload.
Yes.
Most facilities, venues have storage space that you can upload. Now, is that the case in Atlanta and Seattle and some of the other places? Or are
Yes.
you still physically sending material to product?
Well, a couple of them I still have to send a DVD, but most of them is uploads.
Okay.
They usually have their own format, or you deal with MP4s, whatever they require. That has changed. That cut costs down because to send out material costs. But now everything is going digitally upload, and that's great.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now that brings us to where I want to talk about today, these last perhaps 10 minutes, and that is you are pioneering a new paradigm as it relates to streaming content. Network television, cable networks have dominated the entertainment field for a very long time.
That's right.
However, there are some new formats and some new platforms that have been introduced that threaten the supremacy of those other platforms, older platforms of the past. I'm talking more specifically about Roku,
Right.
about Apple TV, about Amazon Prime.
That's
And you are one of the individuals that have really led the way in being able to establish communication and establish a presence on some of these new platforms. Talk to us about Roku. Now, I'm delighted to say that we kind of partnered and went after this Roku platform together, and we've been able to develop a channel. And what you're watching, Church Talk TV, is not only available here on government access, but it is available globally on the Roku streaming network system. So talk a bit about those.
Well, once again, Roku, it's a digital media platform. It's a set box, and their competitors is cable.
Okay.
There's a gentleman named who's actually started. His name is Anthony Woods. He actually started it 2002. He actually is the vice president of Netflix.
Really?
Okay, what had happened,
Okay.
Netflix decided not to build their own player. So they gave him money to start Roku. So right as of now, Roku has 29 million subscribers. Amazon Prime has about 34 million. But Amazon Prime is more outside the country, and where Roku is more inside the country.
Okay, more domestic
Yes.
as opposed to that being international.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct. But that's their competitor there, and because of that, it's going to cause cable or the other companies to change their platform, because when you buy a Roku box, it's only a one-time fee, and it gives the opportunity, like with Church Talk TV, to be seen, where cable is a little different, So it's a great opportunity.
Okay.
I tell people this is the future.
And you're convinced that Roku, Amazon,
Apple TV,
Apple
all of
TV.
them, yes.
So are we going to see more rollouts of these kind of streaming platforms as an alternative to cable? Now, cable, the impact upon cable and the internet was that prior to cable, you had dial-up modems,
Right.
which comparatively were extremely slow. And
yes.
so the advantage of cable was the first player to the table to bring high-speed internet to the end user.
Right.
Now that that's done, these streaming platforms
Right.
have come up and are now threatening the supremacy that cable had at one time.
Well, of movies.
Okay, in
Because
terms of
cable
movies.
still have the internet,
Okay.
which they're big providers in that. And I learned that's an important thing. So cable still has its use. It's not going to totally go out, but they still got to figure out a better way to deliver movies. Where Roku and Amazon is like, and then you have Netflix that's backing Roku. I didn't know that until I did my research.
Okay.
That's important. And, everybody knows about Netflix. That's one of the biggest provider of movies. So Roku and Netflix together, and then you have Amazon. So the question you asked, you said there's going to be are there any other platforms? There are other smaller companies that
Like
are doing
Vudu,
it.
Hulu,
Those I'm talking about set-top box TVs.
Okay.
That's a difference. Vudu's like Netflix. They provide the movies. Roku and Amazon brings in the movies.
Okay.
So that there's a little different. But there are a little other companies that are doing this. Tiki Live is one of them.
Okay.
They have their own set box. There's a lot of other companies from China that you can buy these set box and put on. I forgot what we use to bring in the movies.
The hijack. You're not talking about the illegal hijack.
No, not illegal. No, it's legal. But I'm saying there's other smaller companies that are doing this. But the ones who are leading is Roku and Amazon TV, Prime TV. Those two are the leading edge. Then come Apple, and there's another, I think, Google, or one of them started their own now. But it's Roku and Amazon is the one who's really leading it. They have a huge advantage right now as for being the biggest.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when we talk about the type of programming, the diversity of programming, what do you see on the horizon for local communities like what we have here on Long Island? What are local organizations? Let's say the Urban League, the NAACP, churches, civic organizations, fraternal organizations. What kind of programming are they going to be able to make available to an audience that we've not been able to produce before?
Anything they want, as long as adhere to the rules of Roku and to that. Anything now, everything is possible. I mean, all your programming can be seen, and the opportunity to make money with it, because you get a certain amount of people to watch it. You can get what you call it, commercials. It's
okay, so you can monetize.
Yes, you can monetize it. That's correct.
Okay.
So that's a great opportunity for any organization to do it. But you got to have good content.
Okay.
That's so important. The only problems that I always seen or dealt with the internet, a lot of people just put anything out, and I think quality has diminished a little bit with broadcasting, where the old way of broadcasting, they had
production
rules.
values.
Yes,
production values.
Right, you couldn't do certain things had to be at certain levels. Right, that changed with the internet.
So let's talk shop for just a minute, because this kind of leads into the discussion about the technology of the craft. When television first started, it had 280 lines of resolution. And it went from 280 lines of resolution to eventually a little more than 500 lines of resolution, 550. But it kind of stabilized around 640, whereas computers started at 640, went then to 720, then to 1080. Now they're doing 1920, and there's this convergence where the resolution quality of television caught up with the resolution quality of computers, and they came together and created this whole new dynamic called convergence. How far back do you go? Do you remember 380 lines of resolution, 500 lines of resolution? Because I know you've become a bit of a historian in this area, because you've seen it evolve and change over the years.
Well, can I just tell you the year?
Okay.
Then maybe you can help me with that.
Okay.
Well, watching television in the 70s, I was born in 72, so understanding 70 and 80s, what resolution was that at that time?
About between 380 and 500.
Now that has changed, of course.
Oh my God! Yes.
Now we into 4K.
That's right.
Certain other countries at 8K.
And explain what 8K is and 4K is.
1K is 1080.
Okay.
See, people don't realize the 1080. The average flash screen you buy is 1080. Then you have the 2K, which is I believe is 1920, and then you have and then you have the 4K, which is almost 4,000 resolution. So some movies are shot at 4K. You can tell the way it looks on your screens, and there's some at 1080, and then the older movies that haven't been converted. You can tell the way it looks. So I mean, the end user don't really know what they're seeing, but they know there's a difference.
Okay.
So, but most TVs that are bought today is at 1080, 1080p. That's what you're watching.
So let's take these last just couple of minutes that we have and have you be a visionary. Okay. We're here in 2020. Al, what do you anticipate entertainment content is going to look like in 2030, 2050? Where are we going with this? Holograms are being
Right, I was
talked
about to
about.
s- right.
That is going to be more robust than 3D. What do you see in the future?
Talking about 3D, I don't know what happened.
Mm-hmm.
They were. I bought me a 3D flat screen TV about 10 years ago. I still have it.
Okay.
And there were content, some movies that were made with it. I think they're going to take that
Okay.
and try to rebuild it because I guess it didn't work out because you don't
You
hear
don't see
too
it.
much of it no more. Besides the big movie theaters, I think the hologram is going to come from that.
Okay. Now explain to our audience what a hologram is again.
Well, the best way watch Star Wars. I guess that's the best way of explaining having an image that's 3D that you can't
Virtual, yeah.
that you'll see but you can't really touch.
Right.
I mean that's the best way of saying it. That's going to. I think that, actually it's already happening. Just that we don't see it yet, but it's going to happen.
Okay.
So.
And here's my final question. You work with a lot of churches,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the reasons that I was anxious to bring you on, especially as we talk about Community Watch, is because you are a treasured asset in the area of the faith community. Where do you see churches going, and how would you advise faith communities, whether it's Christian, Islamic, Buddhist, whatever it is, because content is content.
Right.
What do you see them doing to better take advantage of the technology that's available?
What
today?
they need to do?
Okay, tell about
Let's say
what they need to do.
Is update and upgrade.
Okay.
Most churches need to use and understand what 1080 is. Take for instance, Roku and Amazon won't accept your content unless it's at the minimum of 1080.
Wow,
Yeah,
really?
yes.
So that's now the minimum base
The
now.
minimum base,
Really?
right? It won't even ingest, as we call it. I learned that the hard way, dealing with Roku. But I think more of updating the system, understanding, and getting people to learn it or have classes on it because the audio and video is really important to all organizations now.
Yeah.
It became more important than anything else.
Sure.
You know.
Well, friends, I am Andy C. Luter, and for the last several minutes, you've been watching and listening to Community Watch. My guest today is Al Garvin from Al Garvin Productions. We've been talking about videography here in the local marketplace, and I'm hopeful that this has been fruitful and beneficial information. Again, I want to thank Kimberly Jean-Pierre for making this platform available to us. And until next time, we're happy to see you, and we look forward to seeing you real soon. Here now is Kimberly Jean-Pierre.
Hi, I'm Assemblywoman Kimberly Jean-Pierre, and I represent the 11th Assembly District. I hope you had a great time watching Community Watch, and I hope you were able to have a deeper understanding of the various elected officials and know who they are and got a chance to meet them throughout the different segments of shows with our great host, Bishop Andy Luter. Keep looking out for your local elected officials and stay informed.